For more chat about geek entertainment, answers to your questions, and news from the wider world of Christian geekery, get the Christian Geek Central podcast today on iTunes and other podcast services. Well, my editing skills are crap, but can the same thing be said about cosmic sin? Stick around and find out. Hey, I'm Peter Franson from christiangeekcentral.com and Spirit Blade Productions. This is my uncut review of Cosmic Sin. Getting close to wrapping up our March Movie Madness week this year. The synopsis, well, there's two synopses on IMDb. I'm going to read them both. A little confused. The first one says, 7 rogue soldiers launch a preemptive strike against a newly discovered alien civilization in the hopes of ending an interstellar war before it starts. Okay, that's the first one. Second one, in the year 2524, 4 centuries after humans started colonizing the outer planets, retired General James Ford gets called back into service after a hostile alien fleet attacks soldiers on a remote planet. The threat against mankind soon escalates into an interstellar war as Ford and a team of elite soldiers try to stop the imminent attack before it's too late. So was it preemptive or was it a response to an attack? And were they soldiers? I thought they were miners. Not miners, you idiot, miners. I don't know what's going on. There's a lot I had trouble kind of following and piecing together because of the script. Let's just get into it. This is a B movie, which wasn't completely clear to me, watching a trailer. Sometimes you can watch a trailer and maybe a few effect shots will be a little subpar, but you think to yourself, okay, well, this still could be like an indie movie with a lot of heart that maybe doesn't have all the resources that it, really could use, but still is going to be a solid product, So seeing cheap effects now and then in a trailer doesn't mean that the experience is going to be, a B movie. But that's what I would say this movie is. There's just a lot of things going on in the script that read like a B movie to me. There's a lot of logic that's missing, just strange things going on. I'll give you a couple of examples if I can. One is when these humans land on this planet, which other humans have already been on, but these aliens who are able to possess people and use their bodies, are a threat in the area. Well, the humans that were already settled there see the new humans, and the new humans, they come approaching with guns to protect their planet that they've been, colonizers on for a while. And the new soldiers that have arrived to kind of help the humans there, they've got their guns and their weapons out, and I think that they started shooting first, like the natives, not the natives, the colonists started shooting first or something. And so the guy that's in charge is like, whoa, hold on, stop, and then the person in charge among the colonists says something to the effect of, the aliens, when they possess people, they can't speak. Say something. And then he says something, and then the woman is convinced. And I'm like, he just said something. It was not covered over by gunfire, but he was just saying, hold on, wait a minute. He was trying to, tell everybody to settle down. And that was not being covered by gunfire at the time. And they were close enough that they would have been able to hear him talking. So it was just a weird kind of moment. I was like, why are you telling him to say something? It just felt like a moment where, like, let's get this bit of exposition out. The people possessed by aliens can't speak, so say something. So I don't know. I'm mystified by that choice. There's also, and this is more of an acting choice maybe, but there's a woman that's talking about how her military unit was just taken in, like she lost a third of her unit in this battle because of some decisions that the higher-ups had made. And her emotion there reads to me as irritation. Like, come on, I lost a third of my unit, and I'm like, you lost a third of your unit? Is there not any kind of weight to that? Are you not feeling any kind of loss? It was just like an irritant, like, those, like when you're bad-mouthing your boss when he's not in the room, just like, I'm like, no, you just lost, you're talking about you lost a third of your unit. It's just that was a weird choice. There are just numerous character moments that I felt like the script was saying we want to have this kind of character moment, but they weren't built toward in the scenes leading up to that, either in terms of the content of those scenes or in terms of the time given to shooting those scenes and allowing actors' performances to really flesh out those moments and build toward the emotional moment they want to have later on. Or just like little logical things, like if there was one scene later on where it felt like they wanted to have one of the soldiers have kind of a moment with one of the colonists, like a child of one of the colonists. But we hadn't seen any colonists for a good while, and suddenly this child appears, and I'm like, where did this child come from? Why is he suddenly having this heart-to-heart? I mean, I get the kind of movie moment that they were going for, I think, but there was no explanation of where this girl came from. Very odd. And you know, it's not that any one of these things that I'm mentioning is like this just outrageously dumb thing or whatever. It's that there are so many of them that I couldn't list to you right now. I couldn't even keep track of them. I was like, oh, I should keep track of that one and maybe mention that in my review. And then that memory would get erased because another weird thing would show up, just a little weird thing, and then another little weird thing. And I just couldn't. So it was hard to pick, you know, just a few of them because there was so many of them. Anyway, it was a weird experience for me. There are, just in general, the dialogue felt expositional and unnatural in a number of moments. There are strange holes in logic that, as I said, felt like the script wanted to have certain kinds of moments but didn't know how to get to those moments or set up those moments or earn those moments. Let's see here. Let's talk about the cast a little bit. Frank Grillo and Bruce Willis are given top billing for this movie, but they are at best members of a large ensemble cast. Frank Grillo is hardly in this movie at all. Bruce Willis, more so than Frank Grillo, but still doesn't get as much screen time as several of these other performers that are just completely new faces. And so it felt like kind of a bait and switch type thing where we're going to give big billing to these actors because, you know, we got them in somehow, we got them into this movie, and we're going to market the movie based on them. But they're really not the core of this movie. I mean, you could argue that Bruce Willis's character, he plays the general that has kind of a checkered history, controversial history, but is offered to be reinstated if he'll be a part of this mission or whatever, you know. So there's some interesting ideas there. I think that there's a number of like interesting little ideas throughout this movie, but it just doesn't logically hold together. The other actors, you know, largely give straightforward performances that felt like a series of actor choices rather than fleshed out characters. And so I'm not going to pronounce these actors as bad actors, but what I was just feeling as I was watching them and what I thought I was perceiving was, okay, I'm going to make this choice. It felt like a lot of technical actor choices that were sometimes wooden, sometimes a little overstated, but just something that just wasn't quite working. And I felt like I was watching them work more than I was seeing characters, you know. The stunts and visuals, mostly cheap effects, cheap sets and costumes, with a few exceptions that I think that were prioritized in the trailer. Some of the space combat looked solid. Bruce Willis's exosuit looked like it had rugged history to it. I actually really liked how his suit looked, but the other suits of the other characters looked plain and plastic, and there were numerous CG effects that were well below theatrical movie standards. So as far as themes, is there anything of moral, philosophical, or spiritual significance going on in the themes of this thing that might trigger some worthwhile thought or conversation? I don't think so, just because the nature of the movie, you know, when a movie for me is a poor viewing experience, I'm very unlikely to be moved to think deeply about any kind of themes that it's playing with or trying to present. There's a brief moment near the end when a radio announcer says something like, "May the God of War bless us in our endeavors," which suggested a dominance of polytheism in this future that they're presenting, which is hundreds of years from now. They also seem to be going for some kind of comment about war and the potential to create enemies by unnecessarily striking first. But like most everything else in the script, it's just the briefest blip of an idea, I think, that is not built toward or supported in a way that allows it to leave any kind of impression on me. All right, no idea what your tastes are in movies. What is this? The tyranny of my timers. Oh, yeah, okay. I gotta do jaw exercises. It's not enough that I have to wear a splint for 6 months. I gotta do jaw exercises now, too. So I better wrap this up and get to that. No idea what your tastes are in movies, but if I were a time traveler, I'd go back in time and say, Peter, skip, my gosh, skip. Even though the trailer will make you wonder, ooh, maybe this is kind of like a diamond in the rough, or maybe like a cool indie movie that you wouldn't want to miss out on. No, you want to miss this one. In the midst of theaters being shut down, it's hard to tell sometimes which movies would have been theatrical tier and which ones are direct-to-video B movies. This is a B movie with a bait-and-switch star billing that will become increasingly difficult for you to want to sit through as it progresses. It's only 89 minutes long, but it's way longer than you want to spend watching it. This one's rated R for language, including some sexual references and violence. All right, those are my thoughts. Would love to get yours in the comments below. Please like, share, subscribe, click that bell to stay connected. We have one more movie in March Movie Madness, one more movie review coming tomorrow, so I hope you'll come back for that. I want to thank the Spirit Blade Insiders for making this review possible. You can get info about the benefits of joining over at patreon.com/spiritbladeproductions. And then, as always, I hope you'll join us soon over at christiangeekcentral.com as we continue to geek out and seek the truth. The Christian Geek Central podcast is the longest-running podcast for Christian geeks with over 600 weekly episodes and counting, featuring audio versions of much of the same content you'll find here, plus exclusive content including weekly news updates from the creators of Christian comics, novels, and video games, debriefing and commentary about what I've been playing, reading, and watching, and my expanded responses to your comments and questions via YouTube, email, or the Christian Geek Central forums. And now, with timestamps, so you can jump straight to the segments you want to hear most. Get the Christian Geek Central podcast today on iTunes and other podcast services, and enjoy one more way you can geek out and seek the truth.